South Carolina, just over the border.
Yeah, I need to get a hold of that guy. That was pretty fun, actually, that place. I don't know if the track was fun, but the whole setup,
the track was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, for a backyard track,
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get in touch with him. I told him I would, but I did not. All right, so quick, we will, I'll kind of try to stall a little bit, but I will talk about kind of the schedule for the day real quick. We'll go to about 5 today. Usually, I think it says 12 to 6 on the website, but that's with a lunch break. We're not going to take a lunch break today. We're going to kind of try to condense it down and just do a lot of riding and a little bit of breaks. So the schedule will look like this. We'll do our riders meeting now. We'll have a 20-minute open ride for a warm-up. And warm-up is just to warm up. So I want everyone kind of like 50-60% speed because I want to get to the rest of the part of the day. So you're not going to impress me on the track. Just go out there and cruise around, get the body working, get the brain working. We'll come back in, and then we're going to line. I think we're going to just do it here because we have a little bit of shade still. We're going to line all of our stands up along the fence line there, and then we're going to do some drill work on the stands. Okay, so our theory and our method is if you can't do it on the stands, you can't do it on the flat ground. If you can't do it on the flat ground, you're definitely not going to do it on the track. And if you can't do it on the track, you definitely can't do it while you're racing. So we're going to try to take those steps today so you guys can get a good understanding of what that feels like. Let these guys cruise in. Not technically late, but getting real close. You're at the right place. Come on down. After our warm-up, we'll do our stand work, and then how our actual learnings of the day on the bike. We're going to do most of our riding down here on the start. I'm going to set up just a little triangle corner track, and we'll go 40 minutes of drills, 10 minutes of open ride on the track. I call them application motos. The hope is that we can apply a little bit of what we worked on the drills to the track, and then we have a 15 to 20 minute break. So we'll basically have 3 breaks that are going to be about 15 to 20 minutes. So that's like super important that you guys gas up, get food, get water, all of that stuff on those little windows. I found that the hour-long lunch break, or that big break, everyone just kind of does one of these after. So the idea with my coaching, and we've been really successful in, is slowing it down to the point where our brains can open up space to actually learn. Right? I think it's the quickest way to take on new techniques and new habits, and so that will be kind of the theory of the day.
ankle bracelets.
We won't tell anyone.
Are you supposed to be somewhere else, Jason?
It's all under the umbrella. It's all under the umbrella.
Yeah, I think this is good.
Yeah. We'll make it. We'll make it a work day.
Linda might have a wig in the motor coach. I could get you a platinum wig.
Glasses.
Yeah.
It's Halloween. We gotta have costumes somewhere.
Hell
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to get like doctored up and go into other people's classes, ride them. All right, so if you've got your helmets hanging off your bikes, I'd put them on the ground for this or behind you. We don't got an extra stand. Does anyone have an extra stand? I know someone raised their hand and said they had an extra stand. Was that at a different camp?
I've got next one at the motor home if you need it real quick.
If you don't mind, how far is that for you? You can take my rental car if you need to.
Depends what my cardio shape looks like today.
Yeah, we'll see. As you get a little more experience. But I will say, I feel like people are usually I come to these camps and the levers would be all kinds of crazy. I think people are starting to get it. For your hand controls, I want everyone to grab the handlebars and then take their pointer fingers and point them towards the front fender. Now, can you guys see where my fingers are landing? I guess the guys behind me can't. Do you see how my fingers are landing kind of on the knuckle, right next to where the bolt is? All right, you want that thing to land in the arch or even a little further out. And so if your fingers, when you're pointing them in like this, because look at my elbows. My hands are just basically following my elbows, and my elbows are following my hands. I'm not kinked in my wrists at all. Right? If you can get your levers in far enough to where your finger lands in the groove there, that's going to be the right inward spot. I don't want you to go so far that it puts a kink in your wrist either way. So I don't want you to go down here where you have to do this to get down there, because you're not going to drive your elbows up that high. Okay? The idea here is that we draw a straight line from our knuckles to our elbows with no kinks. Okay? Why would we not want a kink right there? Why would we not want to be bent right there?
You could get arm pump?
You could get arm pump? You couldn't. You're like, what, 10, 11? You can't get arm pump till you're 14 or 15, I think. I don't know. I don't make the rules, but I'm thinking that's close. That's not the one I'm looking for. Anyone else got it? Got it?
Just push your wrist in a vulnerable position, like it could injure you.
There you go. Right, we have all these little, I mean, my wrists are kind of jacked up over the years, not taking great care of them after injuries, but if we can draw a straight line from here, in theory, when we have a big impact, and most of the time when we get hurt, it's an unexpected impact. The ones that we know are coming, we can brace for using our lower body and kind of, we can disperse the energy as needed. But here, I like to think of, I want my wrist in a position to where the force goes to my elbow and my shoulder, much bigger joints. Okay, so set your levers up to accommodate that if you can. And what we'll do before we go out and ride our first drill set is I'll give you guys 10, 12 minutes to get your bars and your levers and everything adjusted. As far as bar positioning, for me, I like to just be in line with the forks, just kind of a neutral position. Okay, if you're way too far forward or you're way too far back, maybe think about getting them in the middle. Oh, cool. First whip of the class, hammer. There we go. Okay, and then you guys all understand that we want these levers in to accommodate this position. If they're not, we're naturally going to reach out like this, or we're going to just be pulling at a point where there's just not very much leverage. So if there's not very much leverage, we got a harder pull, and we're constantly working these things, so that could create a little more arm pump. I don't know if that's the answer to arm pump. No one knows, I don't think. And then from there, our brake control and our shift lever. This is like maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. I would say when I go to these camps, 95% of the people have their back brake too low. Okay? I think that you should have your back brake kind of at this angle, right? If we're talking about level as to the foot peg height, I think you need to be an inch above the foot peg. Okay, raise your hand. Do we do more of our braking seated or standing?
Standing.
Okay, we're going to go through that. As long as we understand that our brake position most of the time should be in standing position, then we should think in theory the higher that is, the less distance our toe has to point to get it to the bottom of the engagement, right? And so I definitely want everyone to raise their brake up. Everyone actually just step off their bike real quick, and I'm just going to go around and get my eyes on everyone's. Jason's is kind of high. Yours is definitely low.
Okay.
Okay? We'll adjust that
Okay.
up. It's going to make your brake back position work. Okay? Where's yours, dude? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You got it on your hands. You got the cheat code. That's pretty high, but it could go up a little bit more. That one's not bad, actually. I think you're pretty good. Too low, way too low, way too low. Not awful. That one's not too bad either. Not too bad. Low, low, low. And my off-road guys, you guys are a little bit in between. I do think you need it a little higher, but it doesn't need to be so dramatically high that you can't cover it while you're standing up. Because the left to right, front to back movements while you're hopping through the woods are pretty important. Pretty low. Yeah, you got those little feet. Pretty good, actually. It's high enough. Low. And also the KTMs, they engage differently too. So if it's high and it doesn't engage until it's low, you gotta adjust that engagement. Low, 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 high enough, too low. Did I get everyone? What's the easiest way to pick up speed on the track with comfort? Pop quiz from the riders meeting. Hold it wide. We gotta keep our, you got a mullet too? Oh, dude.
Hell yeah, look at that.
You gotta always watch out for the kids with the mullets. That's what I've learned throughout this year. Hold it wide is not the answer. Anyone got a different answer? Braking, there you go. Alright, I'm gonna kinda keep reminding you, you can try to drive that into your head throughout the day so you guys will leave with that. Like, I gotta learn how to use my brakes really well. Alright, so we understand controls. I think for the shift lever, it's gonna be based off of how big your foot is and where you want it. If you can shift up while seated, if you can shift up while standing, life is good. The shifting down part is easy. Okay, so that's user preference there, okay? So we've got 6 different positions that I want you guys to have a really good understanding of before we leave today. Okay, and not only a good understanding of what they are, but how they work together. Okay, we're gonna have 3 seated positions and 3 standing positions. There you go. All right. Everyone notice that their bike kind of rocked forward. Can anyone guess where you would use this position in the corners? What corner would be good with this position?
A bull turn?
No, not quite. I mean, you probably could get away with it. Did you have your hand up? What is it?
Catholic?
What type of corner? Long, short, rutted? No, not long. It's going to be a tight rut. Right? I feel like this position is only used about 5% of the time and at the high level. Right? So if you're moving your body weight around in the corners to get the bike to adjust, basically its length is what we're doing here. If we weight the front end, the front tire comes up in the forks, the bike gets shorter, it turns tighter. Okay? You got to. I think this should start to compute like whatever my body is doing, it's adjusting the length of my bike, and that's going to make it react different. I think there's so many people that are upset with their suspension and different things like that, but weighting the bike incorrectly and it's acting out of line. Okay, so tight ruts we want to sit on the front. Now everyone move back about 4 inches. All right, so most of you guys should notice that your bike kind of rocked back to the middle of the stand. The idea here is that we're weighting the bike evenly, so we're kind of in between. Our hips are stacked over the foot pegs, so we can work to and from, front to back from here. Okay. I think that you could use this position in almost every corner. You can make it work. All right. So today we're going to sit zone 2 the whole day. I would call this zone 2. So wherever we're at right now, the pocket of the seat, we'll sit there all day long. And then go on back about 4 inches. Oh boy. All right. Everyone notice what their bike did? Everyone's going to do a little wheelie here. So when we sit on the back of the bike and we weight the shock, and we don't weight the front end, what does the bike do lengthwise? Anyone know what the bike does? Does it get shorter or longer? Longer, right? Think about the chopper going down the road that can barely turn into the gas station. Okay, when will we want to use this position on the track?
Rough straightaway.
I don't know if you'd want to be here on the straightaway. You definitely could get away with it, but think about turns. We're talking about all turn positions here. The opposite of what the front is. Long corners. Long corners or sand if you don't want the front end to kind of push into the corners. You guys watch these guys at like Southwick, especially when it's rough. They'll kind of be bouncing and pushing the bike away from them in the holes, but their butt lands here when they're going through these long sweeping corners. So again, today we're going to all sit in zone 2, so let's all scoot up there. And we're going to just establish a good neutral position on the bike, and we'll go over where neutral position is used on the track once we get there. So everyone take their feet and see if you can feel the foot pegs right in between your toes and the ball of your foot, so just behind your toes. We're going to be a little extra exaggerated today with this back position. Give me a little tension with your knees. Now squeeze it until your legs start to shake. Now, as a group, raise your hand and tell me if you ever worked those muscles you just felt shake off the bike. Now tell the truth, okay? This is the truth. There you go. That's all. A couple go down. All right. So if you're not, those are your lifesaver muscles, okay? You're not squeezing the bike 100% of the time, but if you don't have the strength there and it gets worn out and the bike's just flopping around in between your legs, it's not very safe. Okay, so we want to make sure that we understand. I call it the good girl, bad girl. I'm going to get canceled for that, but that machine in the gym where you open up, you close, or whatever, use that one, okay? I don't know what it's called. I heard it from someone else. I didn't invent that. Okay? Yeah, so use that. There you go, the butterfly. That's the kid version. Sorry, dads and moms. Anyways, that machine's good because it works both sides. It works your glutes on the outside and then your adductors on the inside. So anyways, from there, this is going to be the most important part with our seated position other than our feet, is going to be able to move your butt out of the way and kind of rock your hips back and what you would hear people say, unlock the hips or rotate the hips out. So everyone take their butt from sitting on top of their butt crack and get the butt crack out of the way. I'm really politically correct. I don't know how I haven't been canceled yet. So. The neutral position, and again, when you guys reference back to our riders meeting, everything is some form of balance. Where we are on the bike is dictated off our speed. So can anyone guess where you would use a neutral seated position on the track? I'll give you a big hint. But it is kind of hard at first. You'll get it after I say it the first time. Anyone guess? Or Joe, do you remember from coming through about 5 of these camps so far?
Well, the corner entry.
There you go. So when we think about a neutral position, there's a neutral seated position, there's a neutral standing position. I just say, like, at neutral speed, when your bike's not picking up speed and when it's not slowing down, you would be neutral on the bike because we have to figure out how to work with the bike. When it's moving, we move with it. When it's moving back under braking, we move back with it. But when it's neutral, when it's leveled off in speed, we just sit in the middle of it, right? We'll do a bunch of one-handed drills, even some no-handed braking drills for you guys to truly understand what being in balance with your bike feels like. But at neutral speed is going to be right after you set up coming into the corner, so you do your brake back position, which we're going to get into. You sit down right before the apex when you hit the gas. That little period that I call the setup zone would be your neutral position. So it's basically just gives you time to get the bike leaned over before you hit the gas. It's a very small part of the track. Okay, everyone clear on that? Good? All right, so neutral seated. Power forward seated. Stand neutral. Power forward stand. Brake back stand. Okay, that's your 5. Okay? Okay? Alright, do you want to, what's your last name?
Lovern.
Lovern, man. That's a good last name. Lovern. Alright, do you want to start? So you're going to take us through the 5, and I'll help the first few until we start to kind of get into a flow with it. And if you can't talk, which I've had some people that just can't talk, they just get a little stage fright, which is totally fine. Jason's probably going to experience that. If you can't do it, I'll help you through it. I don't want it to be a super anxious thing, but I do need you to say it out loud and kind of go through it in your brain. You ready, Lovern?
Yeah.
All right. I'm following you, and let's all follow Lovern.
All right. Neutral.
Yep.
Roll on power. Stand up as neutral. Back position. Roll on power. Here. And brake.
There we go. That was perfect.
All right. Neutral. Power forward. Stand neutral. Power. Brake.
Love it. All right, Jason.
Okay. Neutral.
Big toe speed. In, back.
Hey,
There you go.
can I go any further in? How about that?
Pull your right foot back in here.
Okay. All right.
And now
Gotcha. Okay. Neutral. Power forward. Stand. Power forward. Back brake.
Alright, ready, Willis.
Neutral. Rolling on power. Standing. Rolling on power. And brake.
Perfect. Alright, next. Provide.
How much we're putting down the throttle?
There you go. However much the wrist turns, the upper body matches it. So when we're about to get out into the drills and actually do this, we're going to start all seated. So the first hour of our training will just be seated position. Okay, the second hour will be standing. The third, we'll tie them together. It's usually about 30, 45 minutes there. Okay? What I want you to think about first is establishing the best position that your brain and body can put together. Okay, and then from there we're going to start adding layers. Right? Trying to stack on as much as we can in a short amount of time. Recognize where you start to fade. Your brain's going to start to get a little overwhelmed, and you may hit a wall with where you could go. Just stay. Go a step back where you can control it and stay there. for a t-shirt and a funny video. Cool? He's pretty good at the no-handed braking. I will say that. We're just cruising around slow. This is so hard for you kids that just are wired to race. Go slow. Okay? Dad's not gonna be mad. Right, Dad? I need verbal. I need verbal yeses. No consent. No one's gonna get. Okay, you guys ready? Let's do it. Felt like it was supposed to? Feel good?
Yeah.
What I will say is, and I want you guys to pay attention to this, hold yourself accountable. Some of the base level stuff starts to fade away as we start to pick up some speed. Like even I just did it by experiment, like when I started everyone could adjust in a little bit. Right? Even if you were pretty good, there was still room there. So just, this is for everyone's ears. Just understand, guys, if you were to say, hey, I'm gonna come to Texas and I want you to train me for 3 months, we would spend 2 weeks, solid, 5 days a week, just focusing on your footwork. And now we're rushing the process a little bit, right, if you will. Still much slower than most, but we're rushing the process as far as the movements go. Go home and start over. Make it simple and rep it out. How do you get all that dirt right there?
Roost in your lap.
Roost, I guess.
Roost in
the
your
hole.
lap. Brilliant.
On this group. If you were, here's the litmus. If you were having trouble remembering everything that we were just doing, don't take your hand off. Now, what I love about the one-handed drills is it shows your imperfections immediately, right? And it's seated. It's not very. You'll grab back on if you feel like you're out of whack, but it shows your imbalances. If you feel like you want to grab back on, it just lets you know that you didn't lead your head far enough forward, or you over throttled and under led your head, right? Let me take this helmet off. Look goofy out here. Can't have this find the internet. We're gonna do our application moto, which equals 10 minutes on the track. I am not gonna pull you off, so you guess what 10 minutes is. Ride 4 or 5 laps. Well, how long is the lap times out here?
Minute 20 to minute 30 for the fast
Okay,
cars,
so go-
and a minute 40, minute 50.
Yeah, go 5 laps, and then go in for your break. We're gonna meet back here at 3:15. Right back here at 3:15. Do not be late. The next hour of class will be the most important hour of your training career.
5 minutes Long Beach for lunch.
Okay?
Forward to pressure.
Yeah.